Vermont, I think, is kind of a state of mind as well as being a state of a state within the Union. We've always prided ourselves that there was an individuality about the state of Vermont. There's a ruggedness of the hills. I think we kind of like to think that that rubs off on the kids while they're here.
See, teachers, I can treat them as friends. They're not like the teacher, not in a boarding school. They're there for every aspect of your life, you know. They're part of the community. They're the educators, but they're also the friends.
I'd say Mr. Long knows every single person on this campus, and I think he probably knows a little bit about each person. He knows everybody, and I think he makes an effort to be someone that is not just sitting behind a desk that said headmaster. I think he's more someone who is Mr. Long, who everybody knows.
If you're going to be able to relate and deal effectively, to be the role model, to be the teacher in the broad sense, you've got to be one-on-one. And what's the most critical asset in one-on-one and your communication, I think, is the ability to listen. And let the kid or let the other person talk their way through whatever the problem is.
We live together. We're together all the time. And so you have to try to have a positive impact everywhere. You have to try to feel good about one another in the dormitory, on the athletic fields, walking down the street.
I love theater and I love teaching, but the parenting role is the most important, because I really feel in today's world, this whole place, students feel like that the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket. And they have to have somebody say, no, it's not. You become their advocate, too.
Like the day before my big test, he saw me right before class, and he said, you can do it. Just go in and do everything you did with me. Just pretend I'm right there telling you that you're doing everything right. And that just helped a lot, just to know that someone else had confidence in you.
I think the first thing a teacher has to do to motivate is to be excited about the subject, him or herself. And if you're excited, then you can pull them along.
And then once you see that the teacher is enjoying themselves, and you can see that a lot in a lot of the classes, then it sort of rubs off onto the students, I think.
And I came here and there were a lot of younger teachers, and there were older teachers who still had the spark and who still had the energy and were excited. And there were people that liked being in class as much as I did. And it was really exciting and exhilarating to just feel like other people wanted to be there with me.
Okay, move your fingers across the bottom with mine.
The teacher has to be the master of what they do. I think you really have to master it so that if they have a question, you go to you and you know. And if you don't know, you admit it, but you know how to find out.
Bright eyes, alert bodies, interaction. They are sitting on the edges of the chair, wanting to say something, wanting to contribute. And then I think it's working.
If you wanted to form a future passive participle of that, you'd say, "Wo kann das," right?
It's not hard to, to put a lot of effort into the class, because it's sort of rewarding to be able to translate, a different language into English so you can understand it. So it's rewarding in itself. You want to do it in a way, and he doesn't really force you. It's something that it comes from within. What he does is, be on two teams, and he'll give us a sentence, and we'll have to translate it into English or into Latin, and whoever comes up with a correct sentence gets a point.
Où est-ce que tu comptes aller? Répétez. Où est-ce que? Où est-ce que?
When I first went into his class, it was sort of intimidating, and he was loud and he was jumping around and he always had something funny to say, but then it got to be really fun and you'd get loud and jump around with him, and it broke through the initial embarrassment of learning a foreign language, of saying the words wrong and of not knowing the answer.
For some reason, language is the most threatening subject of all, and you're asking a student to come back to 2 or 3 years level grade, and it's very threatening to them, and it takes quite a few, I would say about 1 or 2 months to create that team in which they're willing to jump into the language.
Comes up to me and speaks to me in French in the hallway and freezes me for a minute because I have to think of an answer in French, and then I think of it, and it's great.
Well, all the time there's this great big plank in your own.
I don't know. How can you take the speck of sawdust out of your brother's eye when all the time there's this great plank in your own? Or
he's going boing at this point while he's going.
I believe a lot in potential. I don't believe that somebody has more talent than somebody else. Maybe they have a leaning, maybe their voice, you know, they just naturally use their voice or this way or that. I don't really think there are people who can't move. You know, people have not been told they can move. I think you remove the blocks and then things open up.
I don't know, how can you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye when all the time there's this great plank in your own?
You hypocrite! Freeze.
Right shoulder, right foot lead, left shoulder, left foot lead. Coming off, aim the head, slide, make the contact, feet up under, then come back ready to go.
An important part of the learning process is knowing how to win and knowing how to lose, because that's life. So, if you have just lost an important game, and to many of these kids, everyone's important, and your head's hanging down between your legs, what you ought to do is let that hurt for a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that hurt. Let the pain be there and know that the pain is a normal pain. And then it's going to pass. And then you go about your business of trying to improve what you did, and can you do it better? And also remember that pain a little bit, how it hurts to lose. So the next time, maybe I'll try a little harder on the winning.
You set goals for yourself, and that's the way you do it. You set goals for yourself, and you try and reach those goals at the end of the year. And you know, you wear your Vermont Academy coat, and it shows that you're on a team with all these other kids, and you guys all together. It's not just one person who does it. It's the best 3, best 4 who really count, and it's all of us together who do it.
Listen to me. I want you to work on your telomar.
Ski jumping that was my big thrill last year. My first time off the big jump, I'd climb up all those, I think there's 56 stairs or something like that. I count them every time I go up, and I got up and you slap your skis on and look over the edge, and really scared. My palms are all sweaty.
Teague, what's your longest one so far?
I don't know. Mine's 12, I think. We have a good time. Winter Carnival helps to keep everything a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting. Everybody kind of works together.
It's a great break in the winter because winters can be long up here. And a lot of kids who come here from Miami and Texas don't know that. And they get here and realize that it's cold and it's gray, and you know, some days are long and some days are short, and you gotta have a break through it all.
And then when I signed up for this course, the teacher said, well, in the spring we'll be welding. So I got very psyched up, and as soon as we brought the welder down here, I just hopped right on it and threw 2 pieces together and built from that. And then when I was finished, at the end of the period, I was checking it out and seeing what I had done, and kind of
I followed from there. And that curve kind of it looked like a hip a bit. So I went from there and did some sketches that night and worked on different poses that I could make a person doing. And I kind of liked the Archer theme.
So they just melted back into the countryside, set up their base camps up in the mountains.
Our primary function and purpose is to educate those young men and women to gain entrance into and success at institutions of higher learning. That's number one. That is important. But equally important is to educate them to feel better about themselves, gain self-confidence, to be able to relate effectively to their peers, to be able to relate effectively to adults. And when they go through this passage and leave this institution, that they've got self-confidence.
Letting go. That's tough. I think that's why teachers cry at graduation too, because you get close to the kids.
I think what will stick in my memory is sort of the family feeling that you get here. It's a small enough school. You know everybody. It's not big enough where you'll forget somebody's name, and the teachers are always there.
I didn't know when I decided to come here how much that would mean to me. I didn't realize what a small school could do for me that way. But I know every teacher, and every teacher knows me. And at first that sort of bothered me, that they knew everything that I was doing and where I was and who my friends were. But then it got so that I was their friend too. And so you get to know them as a person outside of the classroom. Shows you that there's more than just chalk and blackboards.